The only one that I needed.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Yes, how are you?
Clearly I'm doing great. I'm again not finding the correct buttons. It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Doing alright.
Doing well.
I would say, how are you? And everyone else in chat.
We did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's where we started, didn't we?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
No.
I'm just right inside of Howl's moving castle. It's fine. You can see a little bit more of Seven's side. That Seven's side over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
No. Not for one. Next time I'll move it back.
Yeah.
Take the chairs away.
Maybe for the better, yeah.
I thought it would be better, like back.
Oh,
There
definitely,
was
yes.
more space than right over there.
It is better that it's back.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
No. Also, thank you for being early.
Yes.
I had to look at like previous chats, and I'm still not completely sure how well we know each other. But I know that you came from Super Saiyan, which says a lot. Hello, Vixie.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? I like that even with the bright lights on us, it focuses all of the light on me and it doesn't show your new colors.
Well, maybe you should turn that one off.
Oh, that would help, probably.
Yes, that's better.
Very, very pink. Fuchsia.
Yes.
I like
It still doesn't really show up the correct color.
No, it's a
but
little
it's
brighter than it
a lot better.
It's lighter than it looks. In real life, it's lighter than it looks on.
Yes.
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 It does look amazing. Yes. Dying. I'm dying. Yes. It looks so good.
I'm happy with it.
I'm kind of happy that I got a tiny slither of preview in the in the window.
There we
Because
go.
if I just opened the door, what the fuck?
Yeah. Would have been even better.
Yeah, that's what you were going for, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
You never tell me when you do something like this.
I mean, no. Because I like the surprise.
I mean, I think you wouldn't even tell me if it's like 4 weeks out from you seeing me again.
Maybe not.
Maybe.
Well, it's not something I think of to talk about.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I don't know.
Oh my god, I dyed my hair today. Which color? Cool, nice, awesome. Can I have a picture? This is an awesome conversation.
That's great. I just don't think.
What did you do today? Well, nothing.
Nothing.
You did though.
Oh, yeah. If I do that on a Saturday evening and we don't chat after, you ask me, what did you do today? Nothing. Because
No,
that was the day
fair.
after.
Like, for yesterday to today, that's fair. I wouldn't blame you for that. But if this would be Friday, and then evening Friday, and then I would ask you at the end, it's like, how was your evening? Then I would expect something.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, then,
if
yes.
you say nothing, then that's a blatant lie, because you did do a thing.
It wouldn't be a lie if I didn't think of it. If I purposefully left it out, if I purposefully didn't tell you and I say nothing, that's a lie. If I don't think of saying like, oh yeah, I did this.
Yes. To me,
That's
it's
not a
a
lie.
bigger thing than something you tell, I guess.
Anyway.
We keep finding things in our friendship that are different for the other.
Yes.
Yes. I'm alright-ish, just think I'm getting sick. At least my voice seemingly decided to die. It's half gone. Oh no.
Ooh.
I have a lot of tea with honey. Or ginger with honey. And lemon. It's good for your voice.
Ginger's disgusting.
I don't fully agree, but like as a ginger shot, yes, I agree. I like it in things.
I'm okay with blocks of ginger in hot water with a little bit of honey as a remedy, but other than that, I would not like ginger in anything.
Even in cooking?
Nope.
Generally, it's just hidden in the flavor.
Well, that's kind of the problem. Same with, for me, for banana and pepper. It's like peppercorn. I noticed that even if it's just a tiny bit, it already is too much because I don't like it.
That's fair. Speaking of, we talk about a lot of things.
Also very quickly.
Yes.
We jump topics very often.
Ooh, us? Nah, never.
What?
Huh?
Anyway.
We're talking about soccer anyway.
Yeah.
We made a bowl of ginger shot. Yeah. No,
cool.
It was still the same topic. I mean, you rather than me, but it's probably good for your voice. Realistically, my voice isn't back to what it should be after being sick over a week ago. I'm not actually sick anymore. Not really. I have a little bit of sniffles sometimes, but...
Don't we all?
Yeah.
It's that time of the year anyway.
I mean, it's a thing, because if I now work, and I do, but if I work, then I have at least 2 or 3 people a day that be like, you sound sick. Should you really be working? Do you have COVID? It looks really cool. Also, hi, Suzu.
Hey, it's been a while.
I know, that's been a long time since you've been in my stream. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. It does look amazing. Hello.
It's very insane.
It's great. I love it.
It also stains my fingers still.
That's fair. Yeah, immediately red.
No,
reddish.
it was already pinkish, okay. But yeah, you can see that a
it's
little
different.
bit. It shouldn't
like
be
palm,
this pink.
I mean,
like this.
There you go. It should be somewhat like this.
This is normal. Like my palm is normal. My thumb is definitely a more shade of pink than my palm is. My hands are usually a little reddish. But these are pink. My fingertips are now actually magenta color.
I mean, the sad part is, if you wash it once, that will stop. But if you wash it once, half the color is gone.
My hair doesn't take color very long.
I mean, for all of these vibrant colors, it'll fade down quite fast, regardless of how your hair is. It would definitely stay better if you bleached it first, which our color doesn't need bleaching, but it will open up the follicles to actually allow color to stay. So it's a little bit annoying.
It honestly wouldn't actually matter in color tint for us, because we're already so light.
Yeah, it wouldn't change.
It wouldn't change all that much.
But it would open up the follicles to actually let the dye in and keep the color better.
Which just means it damages your hair, so it actually stays better.
I mean, this is actually a great example. You guys have seen me with it fully dyed red. Like, it was red when I started, and this is still the same color as that. And this was an actual dye. Like, there was peroxide in there. It would make it brighter.
Yeah.
If you go to platinum first.
I'd rather not.
I mean, this is one of the reasons Seven has no hair left. He was so done with it. It was like strawy all the time. It wasn't good anymore. I've been cooking a lot with beets.
No.
Just put your hair in the beets. Yum.
I am a beet.
I kind of like that we say beets for this, which, I mean, it's fair, but cabbage is more purple than this, and beets are more red than this. But it is definitely the common tongue to be red as a beet.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's also beets to stain your hands.
True.
Pink.
Yeah, that's also fair.
And cabbage you don't really manhandle as much as beets.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. I've been putting in hair masks to keep it somewhat supple.
Hey.
No, thank you. I know it's pretty good for your hair.
It's a great hair mask, but God, it's disgusting.
No, thank you. I'd rather just go for an actual mask. For one of the ones that they make for you and smell nice. Not like egg. I love eggs to eat. Yep.
Just walk up to someone with an egg in your hands, like they give you $10 if I get to not smash this egg on your head. Oh, well. No money for you.
Fair. Before you and Apple arrived here, I asked Seven how he wanted his eggs. And he said, I want them egged. I was like, I can do that for you. I don't know if you're going to like it, though. It's like egging a building. He needs to throw them at the building. It's like, I can egg you if you want me to, but do you really want to?
No, I egg him on.
I mean, I'm good at that, too. But yeah, that was funny. Just need to use some Head and Shoulders with a lot of sulfates and dry it with the towel, and my hair is almost like straws. I mean, Head and Shoulders is horrendous.
It is very aggressive.
It is very aggressive.
Which also means that it cleans very well.
Too well.
Yes.
It takes away all of the oils that you're supposed to have in your hair. For us, it shouldn't matter, because we don't wash it as much. Generally. I mean, technically, you can leave your hair for like months and months and be fine. We just don't like it that way. But technically, your hair is fine.
The hair is fine.
The smell is maybe not. But the hair is
The
fine.
scalp is not.
The scalp would be fine. The oil actually protects your scalp.
Okay.
The thing we wash away is mostly the oils in your scalp and your hair that keep your hair healthy. So most of the time, if you don't wash your hair, it's actually way healthier for it. But most hairdressers will recommend to at least wash 2 to 3 times a week, I think. I don't do that. My hair works fine the way it is.
Okay. Usually my head becomes like...
Itchy?
No.
For me, it is itchy.
It's not itchy. It actually hurts.
Fair.
So my scalp just starts hurting.
I have itchy. Apparently Apple does too. So I will wash it when it starts getting itchy, or usually it's a little bit before it happens. But if it does, I realize that I haven't washed my hair for too long.
Yeah.
But it definitely doesn't need as much as most people do, because a lot of people wash it literally every day, and that's actually really bad.
You can use water every day.
Yes, but not wash it every day.
You shouldn't use soap every day. I mean, honestly, you can take a shower 3 times a day. It's not good for the water supply, or your water bill.
It's also not good for your skin to wash 3 times a day.
No, you can take a shower 3 times a day.
Yeah,
just don't wash with soap every time.
Yeah, I guess so.
That was what I was going to say.
But the water will actually dry out your skin, so even just standing under a shower 3 times a day is technically not that great for your skin. It's a lot less horrible than washing it every time with soap.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking the same thing, Apple, with it will hurt when it itches because I scratch it so much. I'll have actual scratch marks on my head if it takes too long, and Several will be like, stop! Slaps my hand, stop itching. But it itches! Then go shower.
Yes. Also stop scratching and rubbing it. It's way better.
Yeah, it definitely is, but if it's itchy, then you kind of want to. It automatically happens.
Instead of using your nail, just ring on it. Like, literally just use the side of your thumb to ring on it.
Just hate sulfates, honestly, so that light shoulder length, I need to get the expensive curly hair shampoo. That's annoying. Once every 3 days at its soonest. Yeah. A lot of hairdressers will actually say wash it every 3rd day. It's probably fair.
I do know that it's too little for me, technically, but it's only by like a day or so. But I only wash it once a week.
Yeah, same. Yeah, similar.
Then again, I don't need to watch it all that often, like you said. But technically, I do wait just a day too long.
You basically wait until it starts being annoying.
Well, I usually just wait until like I'm at a week, which means now I have both time and it's gonna take another week, and then I have time next time.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I usually either take a shower on Sunday or on Saturday.
Very sometimes on Friday evening if you have the whole weekend somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
you can hide it with a cap.
Yeah,
it's true.
I often do. I either wear a beanie or a hat or a cap. There's so many things that I wear. And it will hide it for a day, but that also means that it's more condensed, and like the that is probably what makes it hurt that much more.
Fair. Twice a week, otherwise it'll be greasy. Yeah, that's also fair. I generally, when I feel that it's a little greasy but not like bad yet, I'll put it in a braid and just leave it, because it'll just be gone and out of the way. And it'll be here, but like tiny.
I don't like a braid.
Well, you used to.
Yeah.
Behind your head. You don't. Yeah. You wouldn't put it where I do it.
No.
But that also is more of a girl thing, to be fair.
I don't know.
Okay, let me say it differently. I have never seen a guy put the braid where I/Elsa do. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't or can't. But I haven't seen it yet. You still notice it a lot when you have a braid. That greasiness, that's fair.
No, greasiness is mostly at the top.
Yeah, but for me then it like all of this is slicked back to here, so it doesn't really show up as much because I don't have that much, so it just becomes tiny. I can also put it up in a bun, and then it's also sort of gone out of the way. But I probably washed my hair at exactly the same time you did yesterday at the end of the evening.
Yep, checks out.
We watched a movie. Yeah, well, you said you colored it in the evening, so I figured that would be. Well, we watched the movie 7 the Night, and afterwards we were like, I should really shower, I said. He was like, yeah, I should too. Should we just go shower then? Sure. And it was really late, and we never do that late because we prefer to have our hair dry, so we ended up watching more before we went to bed.
I don't see a problem. Sounds like a plan, right?
7 and I watched stuff, like series and movies, from like 2 p.m. all the way through to when we went to bed.
Sounds great.
The only break I had was when we were eating, which is, you timed it really well with the chat because I was at my laptop eating and chatting. Great. Didn't have to like change anything for it. Didn't have to pause anything. It was great timing. But we tend to eat apart because I don't like eating noises, and on the couch we sit next to each other. So I usually think, can we just eat and then continue watching? Because then I have a little bit more space. Also, I wanted to finish my thing, which was at the desk. This thing. Hello. Hi. I made a thing. I finished it yesterday.
Nice.
And I didn't send a picture because I figured, well, you're going to get this here anyway, so I might as well.
Yeah.
Also, Seven was like, if you want to make a picture, you should wait until the morning, because then you can use the morning light. I was like, yeah, that's also cool.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Very accurate.
Yeah, but we have enough lights. We would have probably made it work, regardless.
Yeah, but the sunlight is incomparable to artificial lights.
True.
That's also kind of the issue with streams. It's like, the best light is the sun, but it's also the most inconsistent, which means you border off all of the windows and turn on artificial light straight in your face.
True. I like that also. Yes, sunlight is the best. Also, the best time, especially for us to stream, is in the evening, because then most people are awake.
Yep.
And then there is no light, or most of the time there isn't.
Well, also for like full-time streamers and YouTubers and content creators and stuff, it's usually they have like a boarded up window in their studio.
Just like blinds, full on darkening blinds.
Yeah, either full on blinds or like curtains or like I had in my parents' house was metal shutters.
Yeah.
There was no light coming through those.
That's fair. I did actually always wonder if those had like the little dots. If you would see them on the inside, but I guess you don't. When you look on the outside for metal shutters, a lot of them have little dots on every single shutter. And I wasn't sure if you could see those. It might be that yours doesn't, but I have seen it a lot.
No, mine didn't, but I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Good afternoon, Rob. Welcome in.
Hello.
How are you?
But yeah, mine had the shutters with a little grate in between them.
Mm-hmm.
So then you pull them up and there's like tiny slits, and then you can put them all on top of each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they would actually shut together, and then you can pull them up, and there would be like a little, technically, sort of a chain link style, but like
it clicks into each other.
A plate covered by a mesh, covered by another plate.
Yeah, that's fair.
They were really useful.
Spider, Lucas.
Spook.
Almost.
There you go.
Spoeder. This is Lucas. It could also be a pumpkin. But because he looks so much like Lucas from the animated series on YouTube, I call him Lucas.
Yes.
It's not because the frog is always angry. Don't worry about it. He isn't. That's why. Very cute. Yes, yes. The only one that I can't find right now is Boo. I don't know where he went.
But
I think he fell somewhere behind the...
It's also the smallest.
He is the smallest, yes. Which is why I brought that one. If someone does Boo, I'll probably do that one.
Well, that one.
Or that one. Yeah, that works. Either way, it's fine. Now someone is going to do Boo just to see what we're talking about.
Suspense!
So let's start a movie.
Yeah, everybody ready?
I think we're gonna get an immediate response like, yes, please.
Yeah, probably.
But yes, I have Boo, I have Wolfie, I have Squish, and normally I have Boo and I have Lucas. That's the one I missed.
That's probably because you didn't see it on the table.
Yeah. Counting them out, be like, well, hold up, I'm missing. Oh, right, that one.
Yes, the one that is on your head. Just like trying to find your phone, like, where the fuck is my phone in your hand?
Where is it? I can't find my phone. I want to write something down.
I had it a couple of times where Apple would give me her phone, and then wanting to look something up because it's so ingrained in the system. And I'm like, there it is.
I mean, I have this often, so you can see this, they can't. But I know where my phone is, because I usually put it there.
Yes. Yes.
So I cover my phone with my scarf, and I don't know why, but I often yeet it onto my phone.
It's because it's one spot.
Yeah.
Like, all of your things are in one spot, which means that no things are visible.
It goes there. I know it's there because it always is. It's always near or onto or in or under my scarf.
Usually under.
Actually, I very often use my phone more, so it will actually most likely be that. Which is it fully on top of it. And sometimes it's halfway hidden because I've been doing something or messing with my scarf and then it's halfway hidden in between.
And then you pick up your scarf and you use your phone.
Thankfully,
everywhere.
I pick it up really big. So I tend to then just grab the entire thing with the phone. Thankfully, because I don't like yeeting my phone, even by accident.
If it happens more, just get a better case.
Literally.
It's definitely not a case for being able to yeet it.
the only phone I've ever had the screen crack, ever, was when I decided to get a new phone, and Seven literally ordered it that day. I was at work, I grabbed my then current phone out of my pocket to check. I think I got a message or something. I checked it, and it fell right onto one of the corners, and the entire bottom side of the screen cracked. And I was like due to get the new one 2 days later, and it wouldn't work anymore. It fell on the bottom side, so it was like full on dead. I was like, nope. Well, great. I'm glad you ordered a new one.
Good timing.
But that's the only time I've ever cracked my screen. I've never ever cracked my screen. I have scratched it with a key, an old phone, but that was very workable.
I had a phone screen crack, but that was my phone, just not in my possession at the time. Someone else borrowed my phone, and cracked the screen. It was an old phone. It was technically a phone prior to the one that I was using at the time, but it was still my phone.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned like, "Oh, I'm gonna have it repaired, and don't worry about it." I never saw the phone again.
Oh.
I have not seen the crack. I have not seen the fix. I've never seen that phone again.
Wow. Have you ever seen that person again?
Nope.
Well, that makes fair. That's
It was a guy from school.
kind of ridiculous.
Never saw him again.
But did you lend him the phone?
Yeah.
Is that why he had it in his possession?
He had issues with his phone. It was like, can I get a borrow phone? I have my own card and everything. I just need a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, sure. I have a spare shell, technically.
Yeah.
So I gave him mine. I borrowed him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to give you this back when I get my new phone." He never got a new phone. And then he mentioned, like, "Oh, I cracked the screen, so I can't give it back to you because I'm going to get it fixed." Never saw it.
That's kind of stupid, but
It's the only phone screen that was ever cracked of a phone that was mine. But it wasn't in my possession at the time when it was cracked.
Yeah.
Because I technically never cracked my screen. I have on this current phone, I have two spots at the very bottom and at the very top that are like scratches that you can actually feel. There were some bits of the glass that got separated because it was going over the floor of the street, like a little pebbly road.
How did you do that?
I wanted to pick up my phone, I dropped it, and it went.
It went skidding.
Yeah, it really did. It was face down on a pebbly road, skidding.
Yikes. Like Apple. That phone was just upset it was getting replaced. Tried to get away. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm just happy it didn't get away in the toilet. I needed the SIM.
That was like right here at the bottom and right there at the top. Right there. So you can't see it, but I can point at them.
Yeah.
Which this far apart, and it's such tiny spots.
Like it just did, like tick tick.
Well, yeah, it actually just
on a stone. Yeah.
You can actually hear the.
That must have been scary to pick up.
I don't feel the fear in that.
No?
No.
Oh, I would have. I remember Stefan being like, he explained to me how his got cracked because I wasn't there. Because he has like basically the same phone I do. It's the same size, it's the same everything. Mine is just one number down.
Generation.
No, it's both the Galaxy A70 and A71.
Yeah, so it's a generation less.
Yeah, but it's like they came out like 3 months apart.
Still a generation difference.
I guess so. I don't know. It just, to me, that sounds like the A and the S and the whatever.
No.
Whatever. Anyway.
S is older than the A.
They're the same size. They're almost the same completely. So size-wise, this is correct. He has like little grippies that he can put them in. And he glued one of those grippies. Like, the glue was really strong. Don't worry about that. Like, we put one of the grippies on one of the car thingies that he uses to drive the RC cars around. And he put it in there. And then he put it down or something. I don't remember exactly. But he was working with it. And he was just holding the grippy. And then the phone fell out. and there's just like the entire bottom part. Like from here out, there's like a big star. Which is a better way than the older one. He has also one that he yeeted against the wall and it just shattered. I'm glad he doesn't do that. Yes. I mean, we've also had one in our old house. Our walls were made of the very old, like sandy type of cement.
Yeah.
Or beton. I don't know. If they're
concrete.
Concrete. Thank you. Made of that, and we. That was in the time that he was more prone to being angry at things and actually throwing things, because he doesn't throw it as much anymore, but almost never anymore.
Good.
He threw his phone against the wall, and there was like this big of a hole in the wall, and the phone was fine. To be fair, he did have like the Motorola X-Force, like specifically made to be sturdy, and then he also had an X-Force case around it, which was like really hard material, so it's fair that it didn't break. But also, like, the wall wasn't happy. There was a huge hole inside the wall.
It's often that the wall wins.
Yeah.
But there are those stories where it just goes through the wall.
Well, thankfully it didn't actually go through. It just bounced off.
Well, yeah, but there's still
a
hole in it. So the wall lost.
Good thing it wasn't an ancient Nokia. The wall would have been done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Motorola, don't underestimate Motorola's. The Nokia and the Motorola's are pretty similar in their strength. Although not anymore. Because now it's a smartphone and everything that you look at it breaks. As opposed to the Nokia 3310 or 3300 and the old Motorola's, you could make a house out of them and they would be sturdier than bricks.
Yeah. I used to have the 3310 and it worked for a long time. Even after I didn't use it as a phone anymore, I used to still use it with to play Snake. I'm old, I know, it's fine.
I used my shitty number phone to either play Snake or make ASCII art.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then very tiny, shitty ASCII art because it was way too small a screen.
Yeah, there wasn't much. And I used to have a Motorola flippy phone as well. I've had a Sony Ericsson, which I don't think they make anymore.
I had a Sony Ericsson.
Well, do they still make them, do you think?
No.
Then I was correct.
Well, they probably don't make the Nokias either anymore.
Well, there are still Nokias, that was my point.
Well, there are still Sonys.
That was my point.
There aren't Sony Ericsson, but there is still a Sony.
That's fair. But Sony is its own entity, I would say.
So is Nokia.
Yes.
I don't understand your mind.
That's okay. Too scared to explain.
Nokia is a brand, and a Sony is a brand.
Yeah, but it wasn't a Sony, it was a Sony Ericsson.
Yes, it's like a Mercedes-Benz.
Yes.
It's one name. And then they split.
Well, then the original company doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it does.
Well, not in a way.
Because it's a combination company. There's Sony and there's Ericsson.
I guess.
And they went together and went Sony Ericsson. Just like the game, like the old fighting games. There are games by Namco. There are games by Bandai. And there are games by Bandai Namco.
Yeah. Which
are 3 separate systems, but one is a supergroup.
Yeah. I guess. I never gave it a lot of thought, and you're making it way too big of a point.
I'm trying to understand here.
To me, it felt like 2 different entities because the one made those types of phones that they made.
Yes.
And the other one makes things like the PlayStation.
Yes.
To me, that's 2 separate entities.
All right. You know the Windows operating system?
Yes.
You know the Xbox 360 and Xbox One?
Yes, I know that they're working together.
They are the same company. Yes. It's both Microsoft.
I know that.
The same with Sony.
Okay.
You know that Microsoft also made a phone? It sucks. Don't use it.
I mean, yes, there's, I think, literally a Windows phone.
Yes, it's a Nokia.
Yeah. Too many companies, too many things that go together. It's not okay.
Is it owned by either Disney or Google?
Probably.
In 10 years it will be. Is it media? It's Disney. Is it hardware? It's Google.
So is something like Amazon also from one of those two? Or is that the third one? Yeah, I was going to say that's the third one.
Amazon is trying to be the opposer to both. It's failing harsh against Google, but it's doing pretty well against Disney.
Yeah, I would say so. I remember my dad had a work Motorola I wanted to replace because it was because an accident that didn't work out. Tried drowning it, dropped it, ride it over with a car. It still worked.
Oh.
That's fair. My Nokia went through a lot before it actually ended up not working anymore.
I mean, Nokias can survive a nuclear war. It's not okay.
I've had to put it like in rice, like, on advice of someone from like one of those companies. Be like, hey, I basically went into like a slope, a waterway,
Irrigation ditch.
that is horrible. Don't go in those. They stink.
So imagine a ditch on the side of the road that is filled with water.
Yeah.
And then replace the water with muck.
Yeah. So I didn't go in there voluntarily, but I went in there.
Fallen. Terribly.
I wish I'd fallen. No, I was actually pushed. Which technically means I fell. Like, not willingly.
If you just stumble, you wouldn't go in there.
No. I was biking home from school and my bullies were behind me and they were trying to catch up, and at some point I was like, oh, let me just see if they pass if I go a little bit out of their way, like off of the road, because they used to be annoying if I was on the road and they would yell that I was in the way, even though I wasn't, but I used to be huge, so I was like, I guess I'll just move out of the way. And they were like, oh, that's fun. Well, let's just push you further and further and further. And I tried stopping because, you know, I saw the water coming up. I was like, let me just not be biking. And then they pushed me far enough that I actually ended up with bike and all in that ditch thing. Yeah. Sucks. Anyway, I had that phone on me. And that phone was like, don't turn me on right now. And I didn't, thankfully. I went home. We called the person. Like, what do we do? Like, well, pray and put it in rice. Like, okay,
yes,
we'll do that. And then I think 2 days after, my dad pulled it out and he was like, "It feels like really, really dry. Let's try it out." And it turned on. We went to the shop anyway just to make sure. And they looked it over and I was like, "Well, it looks great. You need to clean it a little, but." That's it.
Some ditch muck in there.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, your audio jack may sound like a fishbowl, because I mean it is now.
It already did, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wasn't a fun experience for me or my phone. That's also the only other time that my phone ever got broken. All the other ones either just stopped working out of themselves, the battery was too dead in the end to actually keep working. Or I've even had one where my main Android version wouldn't update anymore because it was so old. And I was like, well, if I don't, I can't watch things on YouTube, I can't do anything weird, like anything normal.
That is
can't
prior
update shit.
to Android 4.
Probably, yes.
From Android 4, they stopped locking. Which means that if you have an Android 4 phone, even though your hardware may be very outdated by now, it would still update and try to update until it just dies.
Yeah.
Where the updated version, like Android 8, would be pushed on there and it would just say, like, I don't know what to do with this. Prior to Android 4, it would just lock you out of updates.
Yeah, that's what happens.
It's what happens to iPhones and to MacBooks. Like all Apple Corp products lock you out because they know. I think it sucks, but it's also a good fix because they know that your performance will be worsened by updating.
Yeah.
So either you update.
Or
and
upgrade.
you have more features, but also Like, they don't have the guarantee that it will actually work still. Or you don't upgrade, and you still have your working system the way it was. Yeah. You just don't have the extra features. Either buy a new system that is going to set you farther and with multiple updates after that.
Yeah, it's true.
Or you're going to stick on your own system and you don't get any updates, but you do get the guarantee that it will constantly be functional.
I have noticed that with a lot of iPads, they still have that lock.
All of Apple Core products do.
Oh, still. I mean tablets, sorry. That's fair. I meant tablets. I don't have an iPad.
Yeah,
all of the tablets that I've ever had will end up not working anymore because it doesn't want to update my Android version.
Do you know what Android version that would be?
Not off the top of my head, but they still go on, so I can show you later.
There's a good chance that it would still be prior to Android 4.
It might be. I don't know when 4 came out.
A while ago.
That's fair. It doesn't matter.
I believe a good 12 years ago.
No, some of them are definitely not that old.
No, then there may still be a lock on tablets. I don't know about that. I don't use a lot of tablets.
Well, we used to, because we prefer to watch some videos before we go to bed. Yeah. And Seven really liked using a tablet for that until, like, every single tablet over time, it's going to shut off. Every single time we've watched, where we used a tablet, it ends up not updating, and then we can't update YouTube, and then YouTube is like, I don't work, because I don't have the latest version. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube is very stingy in that.
And it also won't work in the browser then, because it'll be just really slow regardless, because, you know, there's an app for that, you know that?
If you go in browser, it doesn't work.
No.
And even if you have a beautiful tablet with the latest version, it still fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Because it's not optimized for anything mobile. Because there's an app for it.
Yeah.
They don't push resources into making a website that works on mobile. It looks fine. It just doesn't function as well. Especially if they already push resources into an app.
Yeah.
Which is different resources.
That's fair. It just sucks when your updates don't work anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah. We've been talking for 45 minutes. Maybe we should do the stream.
Maybe. But hey, it's about the same time then.
It's true. Is everybody ready?
Well, Apple was ready a while ago.
For like half an hour ago.
Yep. What a good idea. Thank you. There we go.
Oh, we suddenly disappeared. I'm used to being in the middle.
Good stream.
It is categorized as just chatting. It's fair.
We were just chatting.
You ready?
I am ready.
Chapter 28. As Delira, Idas, and Lachlan slowly descended towards the same spot they had made their camp the night before, they still looked around. Lachlan, in particular, was trying to see if there was any sign of the men that he had seen that morning, while the ladies looked for any signs of past civilization. You guys didn't have to come down with me, if you'd rather have looked on the mountain, Delira said, softly after a while.
Heck no! I like the sea level much better.
I am more than okay not being on a mountain as well. Besides, after what happened this morning, I'd prefer to leave in more equal groups.
He looked up to the mountains, trying to see if he could spot the small specks of their friends, but he didn't know where to look exactly. Delira nodded. I would have thought you'd like to go on the mountain. You can jump quite high too. Is there a difference?
Oh, well, when I jump, I'm in control. If any of us were to fall off that mountain, I don't want to think about it. I can't fly with my wings. As pixies evolved using our wings to elongate our jumps and speed up our movements. No one of my species is light enough to be carried by these thin membranes.
Having such speed and high jumps do sound very useful. Do you ever use them in your work? To get to large machines or anything?
Lachlan asked, stepping into the conversation.
Certainly. All the time. I rarely use my workshop stairs at all, with the loft being open on one side. That open space is also used for very tall machines that I can jump up to. Idas jumped from one foot to the other. They were taking a slightly different route back so they could see more of the mountain. Could you use your high jumps here? I think we may have gotten a little lost on this other way. Maybe you can see where the town was, so we know what way to go. Sure thing. She fluttered her wings quickly to check if they would cooperate. It sounded like a revving engine. She put her feet firmly on the ground and started a run. One step, another, and another. The fourth step was more akin to a stomp as she shot into the sky, vanishing into the canopy of leaves. Seconds later, she came hurtling down again, the revving louder than before, trying to slow her descent for a safe landing. Knee and fist on the floor, she panted. That way, pointing slightly to the left of where they were going.
That is really amazing.
You sound like Zenith.
As long as you sound excited about something, you'll sound like Zenith.
We did go mostly the right way. We're almost out of the woods. When we get to the campsite, we'll take a break. That way we can set up our stuff and things later in the evening. What do you say?
Sounds like a good plan.
Lachlan answered, and Delira nodded too. They walked a little longer in silence, and as they arrived at their campsite, it was again Delira that spoke up first. I wonder why my kin would be up on that mountain. It doesn't seem very nymph-friendly.
Maybe the others will find more information, bring them down. More texts or books.
I guess we'll only find out when the crew comes back,
Ida said, hammering a tripod into the ground above the fire pit.
I think we should prepare for a couple of days of separation from the others. It's already been 1 day, so it's certainly going to take another 2, maybe 3 days for them to get back here.
I hope they'll be all right up there, Delira said, looking towards the forest that covered most of the slope.
Let's set up and make sure they'll have a decent place to rest when they do reach us again.
Lachlan said, already picking up some wood to make a campfire out of. Food was made, a simple dish. The evening was calm in the summer air, cooling off slowly as the sun went down. When it was as dark as the summer would allow it, they slowly scurried to bed. Lachlan was the first to drift off.
Hey, dude. I wanted to apologize again for my stupid action. I shouldn't have assumed. If you want me to make you anything, just ask, okay?
It's been a while. I shouldn't stay upset forever. I forgive you. Since we're apologizing anyway, I'm sorry for holding a grudge for so long. Delira responded. A friendly smile was exchanged, still visible in the nightlight of the bright, warm days. With fulfillment and a newly patched friendship, the ladies went to sleep as well. Soon the night was filled with soft snores. In the meantime, Ira, Hazard, Lachlan, and Zenith had moved their way up the mountain. Valentina. Yeah, completely correct. They had to climb in certain spots. It made easier by Ira and Zenith's wings. They could fly up the ridge and help pull the others up together. The higher they climbed, the harder it became. Still under cover of a forest, but by the end of the afternoon it started to thin out.
Will we sleep here on the mountain tonight?
Zenith asked, realizing they had moved quite far away from the base camp.
No time to walk back down, so it seems we're stranded on these rocks for the night.
Through the thicket of the trees they only saw more trees, a strange sight seeing the leafy tips while standing beneath others. The other way the trees became sparse, their roots unwelcome in the steep stone cliffs. Good thing we brought everything. When we all left together, we can sleep anywhere with these, Ira said, patting her bedroll. I still have quite a bit of the food with me. Lachlan and I had divided most provisions between our packs. Do we risk a fire?
Risk? Of course. More fire, please.
Other spots on the mountain are also lit up, probably by mountain-dwelling tribes. I'm sure we'll be fine.
I might still keep watch after what I heard last night. I'd rather be sure you guys are safe.
Okay. Do we camp here or do we move a little more?
It won't be dark for a little while longer. We could move along the forest, search for some stones and some wood to make a fire,
Ira suggested. With a nod, the group continued, edging the forest looking for tinder and flint. The warm days had done a number on the wood. Cracks and flakes were peeling off the bark. Even still, the trees seemed to be thriving in the stone ground. Small streams of water trickled down the hills, nourishing the roots embedded in the crevices. The group of 4 gathered the needed firewood and found a place somewhat secluded to set up their camp. I'd expected to see some of those mountain-dwelling tribes on our way up, Ira admitted while she got situated. Zenith took some of the provisions to figure out what to make them as a meal, as Valentina observed Hazard while he built the fire with a little smirk. If the books were correct, there are goblins. They mostly travel by night, even if they even move at all. Some of the other creatures would move sometimes, but most of their nests are dens to protect. One of the creatures, I don't remember what it was called, the tribe book said they were masters at hiding themselves.
Hiding is for cowards. Fight fair, you rock-eaters.
Stop yelling. We already have enough trouble on our mind. We don't need quarrels with tribes of goblins and trolls, Valentina said sternly. Hazard rolled his eyes at her, but he kept his mouth shut and focused on getting the fire going again. He put his face so close to the fire to blow on the embers that Zenith was nervous he might lose his eyebrows, but he managed to get it going without any injury. She prepared a small stew for the 3 of them, not wanting to use up any provisions she didn't need herself. After the long journey they had made on the mountain, everyone was tired enough to fall asleep as the first signs of the twilight set in. Zenith kindled the fire for a little while longer before dousing it with sand and keeping watch in the dark. The first 3 hours, when the dark had fully settled, Zenith was fully alert at every sound around them. An animal snapping a branch, the crackles of a fire, an owl hooting in the distance. After a while it calmed down a little bit. She started to hear repetitive sounds. Rustling of leaves by the wind sounded a few times. After a while she looked up at every sound, but less urgently. It slowly started becoming lighter as the morning hours crept in. The brisk night wind didn't let up. The coals were still warm to the touch, not even glowing anymore. Garbled sounds from close by goblin and gremlin tribes became louder as more of them woke up. Zenith heard their distinctly different yells from opposite directions. In the distance, on the eastern side of the rock face, Zenith could see a bipedal frog-like creature. It was short, red, and stout. On the other side, several lanky creatures came crawling out of the cave mouth. Quadrupeds. Short hind legs connected to a slender body, supported by massive arms. The toad-like creature yelped at the sight of the others crawling their way across the rock face towards the other tribe. In an instant, more of the red creatures came running out of their hideout, waddling from side to side, barely supported by their small legs, carrying way too heavy clubs. Zenith saw it all unfold on the cliff face, until suddenly it hit her. This was a turf war. The group had put their safe camping site in between 2 rival species, fighting over their habitat. As quick as she could, she woke the others up.
What time is it?
Early! We have to get out of here, now!
What's going on?
We're in the wrong place! We have to move! Come on!
She urged, pulling at the bedroll Hazard was laying on. Yells of war followed Zenith's. Valentina shot upright, rubbed the sleep out of her eyes as fast as she could, and started recording the battle.
Valentina, I doubt this is the best time to do that,
Iris said, worried, packing her stuff.
I know, but I have to write this down. This is peak information on these species.
Valentina couldn't take her eyes off the battle, even going as far as to write it all blind.
Either you pack your stuff or I throw you over my shoulder so we can leave.
Hazard threatened her, pulling her up by the arm. The battle had lasted maybe 15 minutes, creating a massive commotion in the early morning. The group had packed all their equipment, ready to flee the scene before they were spotted. The smaller red ones must be the goblins, fighting the larger armed gremlins. I've read about their body shapes in Ahika's library, but nothing about tribe wars. Valentina had packed everything but her notebook. Page after page was filled with scribbles on the event. A roar, big enough to shake the trees, had the war halted in an instant. From a little higher up the mountain, the head of a massive dragon emerged. Smoke billowed out of its nostrils. A spiked ridge ringed its jawline. Narrow eyes scanned the scene, and a feathery plume adorned its head like a mohawk. All eyes shut up to the dragon, and a soft curse left Zenith's lips in a language none of them knew.
Rohan, we need to run now.
The war ended immediately. The creatures scurried back to their homes in the caves without even a peep. The dragon's head vanished back into its own cave, and soon after the group emerged from behind the trees. Rohan, the thief that assaulted me in Cordova. He may have been a dragonkin, but to transform into a real dragon? I didn't know it was possible. He attacked Zenith when he stole Ida's magic crystals, way back when I first joined this group, Valentina said, finishing the last words on the dragon in her notebook.
He attacked you? And stole from Idas? What are we standing here for then? Let's show him who's boss.
Hazard punched into his hand, crackling his fingers. I'm not sure that's a good idea. We're talking about a dragon here, and by the looks of the smoke he exhaled, a fire breather.
Least we can do is check if he still has the crystals, right?
I don't know about this, Zenith said, putting her hand on Hazard's lower arm. He really hurt me then, and he didn't even use his fire breathing. Maybe it would be better to search for what we came for and then regroup with the others. There's strength in numbers, and Lachlan has magic to help too.
I guess you're right. But he won't get away unscathed this time.
Hazard shook his fist to the cave opening Rohan peeked out of. Making their way to below the goblin cave, in the shelter of trees, Zenith explained the history between her and Rohan. Even though she knew he was on the island, she hadn't expected to see the dragon again. Knowing that he was up here with them filled her with dread, but on the other hand, solace of knowing her friends at the mountain base won't run into him on their own. Maybe go to that one. Hello.
Hello.
So many words.
Many words.
Many words. All my words. You had like 8 sentences. No, you had more this time.
I had a good amount of sentences.
Last time you had 3 in one chapter.
It has been much less.
Yes. But it's good. I like this. I like that I did the sentences that were supposed to go right, and then the ones that I totally didn't expect to go wrong. I was like,
Also, the entire wrong person.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Also, I don't remember what I then said wrong.
You said Lachlan instead of Valentina.
Oh, that's weird. Because
Yes.
I don't remember saying it wrong, but when you said it, I was like, oh yeah, I probably said it wrong. That's fair.
Like, you started like, yep, huh? And then you said Zenith, and then you corrected afterwards Zenith. And I was like, that wasn't the one to correct, it was the one before that.
I did not realize that I was doing that wrong. See, it's good that he's here. Keep me on my toes. Not actually, though. My ankle hurts.
No, just like that. Just like, yeah. Like tippy toes on your chair.
If I put that chair all the way up, I can. Like, just sit with my tippy toes.
I mean, I usually sit on my tippy toes, but that's only because I like that.
That's fair.
Because if I don't, I can be on the floor, and I can be a little ways away and still be on the floor.
Yeah. Yes, you can. There's not two scenes. Oh no. I don't think some of the characters would be okay with two scenes. Aside from the fact, like, oh, you sound like Zenith. Like, you're too bubbly, too happy, too inquisitive. It's fine. Too excited.
I just sound a little bit excited about anything, and you'll sound like Zenith.
It's true, though.
Yes, that's kind of her character as well. It's just the big excite.
I mean, it's all new to her.
Yeah.
It's very...
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Just, it is a thing.
It's also why I like the voice so much with that. Because that is my voice when I get excited about things. I tend to go a little higher. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's a nice character. I like it.
Also, I don't know if everyone noticed, but we are only doing 2 chapters today.
Yes.
Not 3. Which is why he said, like, oh, time-wise, that's correct. Because we talked for so long.
Before we started streaming this book, I wanted to have 10 chapters ahead. And
We had 20.
by then we had 20. But our progress has been slowing down a bit. And now if we did 3 chapters this time, we wouldn't have 10
In advance.
ahead. So that's why there's only 2 this time. And probably there's going to be 2 for a couple times, just to have us catch up a bit and make sure that we can actually do this every 3 weeks, even though it's slightly less than it usually would be. But then at least the schedule is the same.
Yeah.
Just to have us a little bit more ahead. We are closing in on the end of this book, in our writing at least.
Wise, yes.
So we're going well. But yeah, I think having a little less in the streams to make sure that we actually do the streams is probably more beneficial. Quality over quantity, yes. Absolutely.
I was trying to read that, and I was like, wait, did she do it the correct way? And then you said it, and I was like, yeah, that's correct.
Absolutely, quality over quantity. Whenever we're not in a good mental space...
Either of us.
Not
definitely. Just both of us, like, if either of us.
Either of us is not in a good mental space. That means that the quality of what we write is not up to par. And that way, either we write it anyway, and we're not going to be happy about it, and we have to rewrite it because it just doesn't fit or it gets scrapped entirely.
Yeah.
Or we don't, and then we rather don't because it's a lot of stress to actually put yourself into something else when you don't have the brain space for that.
Yeah.
So we rather not write on the days that either of us is not doing very well. So that's why the progress has been slowing down a bit. Both of us are fine. We are used to it. But definitely the winter, for me at least, the winter doesn't help. The cold weather, the less sunlight, it takes a number on my mental health.
I think you explained my side really well in chat at some point. Like, I used to use this as a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
To just write, and now have a lot more space in my head to actually think about things, and then it kind of sort of comes out in other ways, where I have too many other things that I also want to do.
Yeah.
Or talk about, because we do end up using that space of time for talking.
Yeah.
Not always the full time, but a lot of it. So I basically am sort of processing everything that has happened, / finally having space to do other things and think about other things, and sometimes that means that writing isn't in the cards.
Exactly. So us having a little bit more space for that would just be nice.
Yeah. That
makes our streaming these every 3 weeks just more consistent, and it's just a more enjoyable time. Exactly. Yes.
And it's also because what he said, we're nearing the end of the book in writing. It's never fun to write an ending.
It's really hard. God damn, it's hard.
It's never fun to write an ending, even though we know there's going to be a book 3. And we're excited to start on book 3. That's kind of also an issue. Like, we want to kind of just continue into 3, and then you can't really leave 2, you know?
I really want to start on 3, and I really want to finish 2, but I really don't want to finish 2.
Yeah. So book 2 is kind of his baby, where book 1 is definitely my baby.
I've put a lot more energy into 2 than in 1.
You've pulled me through some bits, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of bits, actually.
Yeah.
To be fair.
But that was also in 1. A lot less.
Well, the reason that you started writing is because I needed someone to pull me through.
Yeah.
I needed someone to back and forth with me. Because about 45... No, the other way. That's time-wise. No, 3/4. That's the one.
Yeah.
3/4 of the book. I was in time 45 minutes. That's not correct. 3/4 of the book I wrote basically on my own.
I started writing on chapter 40.
Well, that's
2/3.
2/3. That's actually perfect. Yeah. Fair. I'm very good at math, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And so that was at that point where I was like, I don't know how to continue, but we want to keep doing this, and we were already streaming it by that point. That I was like, I need something. Can you write your character? Just David. That's the only thing I asked of him. Like, can you just bounce off of me how you would respond, and we'll see how that goes. And that is how I roped him into writing.
I was already interested about it.
Yeah.
From the start, honestly, but I had no experience. So the first 40 chapters was me trying to understand how and why and this and that. And then from chapter 40, I mean, I'm not good at writing still, but I have learned a lot in the first 40 chapters to at least have a capable piece. And I mean, to be honest, the ending of Halo started at chapter 40. We went into the finale bit. I think that finale bit has been 10 chapters too long.
It is quite long.
It is very long and it drags a bit. But I mean, it's also a struggle, and there's a lot of pieces in Halo that just emphasize how much work they put in and how much work we put in to make it that way. On the one hand, I think it may be 10 chapters too long. On the other hand, I feel like it emphasizes how much progress or how much they actually did to get there.
I think there are definitely bits that we could either shorten or take out.
Yeah.
But absolutely. I don't think we would really want to, because they also took a lot of effort. So it's always a struggle trying to figure out what you want to keep and what you want to.
Yeah, and that's also the point where you started to, like, I need more, and that was getting to the end.
Yeah.
It was, again, the beginning of the end is the hardest piece.
Yes.
Because when I started writing with you, it was much easier. Because I had much less of an ending feeling. Because I just started.
Yeah.
And
now we're both at the point where we're like, oh, is it finishing? Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly. And I had a lot of visions about the finale. And with this one, I have that less. And also that we've been in this the entire way. As opposed to me jumping in at the last third.
Aside from the fact that you have been reading at that point, but you don't write it.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
You don't have to think about what's going to happen next. You're just waiting for next chapter or next paragraph or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we've been along the way with these characters for all this time, and it's hard to continue.
Yes. We're gonna try tonight.
Leave it without an ending. Yeah. Start on the next. No.
We're gonna try tonight.
We're gonna try tonight. Yes.
Depending on how I feel when you guys leave. But I'm trying not to think about that.
We should be done with chapter 40.
That would finish, absolutely. That would finish chapter 40. We can do it, yes. We just need to... Can you push him? If you push him, then he pushes me. If not tonight, then sooner you do that. If you don't finish it now, you'll finish it too. Yeah, eventually.
Of course. It's something we want, just something we can't do at the moment. Then it will be done soon.
Yes.
Or eventually.
But we do try.
We try our best every time.
Yes.
Just doesn't always work out.
Exactly. Shall we continue with Friday night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think I've said everything I wanted to say about our progress and how it has been going. A little bit of a status update to you guys, and
very enthusiastic.
Yeah. Like a little progress update.
Yeah.
I think that's always nice to have, like, what goes on behind the scenes. This goes on behind the scenes. It's mostly slowdown is mostly through mental health.
Absolutely.
Just have a pause, because mental health is more important than anything else.
I mean, writer's block is also a thing, but it's harder to have a writer's block when you're together.
Yeah, I don't
because
think
if I
really
have one,
writer's block,
then he doesn't have one, and if he has one, I won't have one.
Yeah.
So you can pull each other through, which is part of why you needed to pull me through certain bits.
Yeah.
Because I would partially be not in the right headspace, but also oftentimes not know where to go. And then you would definitely pull me through those.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she said ready, so let's do this.
Let's go.
Chapter 29. As they moved across the wooded terrain, they kept having to wait up for Valentina. She was scribbling as much as she could in her notebook, working out details she had only written in shorthand before. Can't you do this when we make up camp tonight? Ira asked tentatively when Valentina stumbled over a loose rock. It's all still fresh in my mind now. You have the summary? Wouldn't it be easier to write it out when we have the time? We've got a rather large climb ahead of us.
Less talking, more climbing, wouldn't you say?
Hazard tapped his foot, his mechanical ankle squealing from the dust. They had already moved quite a ways away from the initial battle, curving mainly around the peak of the mountain. The trees had started to become increasingly thick and high. The forest was becoming more dense, even at that altitude. I have a feeling about this place, Zenith muttered, looking around. They were about to make another great climb onto a high ridge. Zenith lunged up, helped by her wings, but before she could turn around to help the others, her eyes drifted further into the forest. A pattern seemed to emerge in her eyesight, but she wasn't sure yet what it meant. Ira joined her on the ridge, making her turn around and help Valentina and Hazard up too.
Is it a good or a bad feeling?
I don't know. What's the matter, Zenith? You seem more distracted than usual.
See more off of this earth than Valentina.
Huh? What? I heard my name? Valentina shocked her attention away from her notes. I'm not really sure yet. We need to move further to be sure. They rested for a moment, to give Valentina and Hazard's limbs a moment to recover. Everyone took a few sips of water, and then they headed towards more dense forest. It wasn't long before the pattern became harder and harder to ignore. She stopped Hazard beside her by placing her arm against his chest. There it is again. She turned on the spot, and as she shifted, she noticed the full extent of it. They are trees. We found our tribe.
Yes, there are lots of trees. Maybe you should sit down for a second.
Hazard gently pushed her to sit down. The girl sees. Who's there? Ira commanded, but looking around more hesitantly. It's hard to focus on them. I didn't understand at first, Zenith said softly as they all moved with their backs against each other. There are only clusters of 3 or 5 trees across intervals. They're all connected, like a family, she muttered, pointing at an example in the distance. These nymphs aren't like the Lyra. They're not of the water. They're of the forest, Zenith said, bowing her head in respect to the trees. How do you know that they aren't hostile? And how do you know that they're a nymph tribe? They seem elated, scared. I didn't know if they are hostile. But the clusters, they were in the book. I didn't realize what they meant. There were little drawings of dots all over the page, 3 and 5. There were words clustered in the same grouping. I thought it was just their way of writing. She took a deep breath and realized they couldn't just keep talking amongst themselves. Yes, I am scared. We do not know your intent. We realize now we are in the heart of your tribe, surrounded. We bear you no ill will. How do you view us? Outsiders, trespassers, wrongdoers.
Halt and murmuring.
A deep, old voice mixed with the echoes of the woods.
These beings are not hither to bequeath unto this land.
The voices stopped. We're searching for something. We suspect it's on this mountain, Ira answered, still wary of her surroundings.
Searching heart and flame. No, searching hurt and pain. He reeks of smoke and flame.
Another voice rose up, closer than they were expecting. We mean no harm. If we could talk. Just a conversation. We've come all this way.
I don't smell that bad, do I?
Hazard whispered to Valentina, who responded only with a pained look.
What asketh thee of us? What dost thou require to learn?
We are searching for a relic. According to the librarian Ahika, it's called Koropus. Have you heard of it?
Koropus. Verily. We know of it. It slumbers upon which mountain?
We shan't trust this outsider, Elder Lord Relic.
What can we do to gain your trust?
Except for being made of trees. I prefer metal and flesh.
The children of the forest have seen much harm. They are weary of more hurt. Thou shalt rid us of the dragon's clutches, and you shall have our trust and grace.
Get rid of the dragon? Valentina whispered, shocked. Those few words made it clear to her friends how impossible she deemed that task.
We will deliberate. Thank you for your answers so far,
Zenith said, not wanting to break the little respect they might have among the trees. Then she started hustling them away from the clusters. The only way she knew was to go back. While Delira, Idas, and Lachlan waited for their friends to return from the mountain, Delira found herself the perfect pastime. She would go down to the beach and swim in the sea. The salty water wasn't her favorite, but it didn't really bother her either. Lachlan would scavenge around them for herbs and spices in the rich forest soil. He even found some truffles that he promised would make a dish go over the top. Idas had bottomed out her back, pieces of metal, shining crystals, some stray pecoru beans strewn across the forest floor. Even though she had the tools in the parts, she was bored.
I want to be back at my workshop. Forests are boring.
Forests are all but boring. Life abound, fresh greens everywhere. Look around, smell some nature, touch some grass.
You could even take a swim with me, Delira offered, nudging her chin towards the beach.
And be soaked until we're home. I appreciate the offer, but I'd rather not.
You seem dreary. Where's Idas?
She's at home, building machines, having fun,
she answered, throwing a rock into the bushes. Won't you have enough materials to build something here? Delira asked, pointing at the mess on the floor.
This mess can be used in many ways, but none of them will help us now.
If you're not building anything, maybe build us a fire. It's getting around dinner time.
Lachlan put some forest greens next to the pile of metal scrap from Idas's bag.
All right, I can do that.
With a sigh, she stood up. As Idas started on her task, Lachlan cut up the greens she gathered and some of the vegetables that they had brought. His knife flew through them. He was done within only a few minutes. They had to use some water from the bottles because the seawater was much too salty. Once the fire was going strong and the water was boiling, we started adding everything at certain intervals to make a stew. Dinner was served and enjoyed. Idas's vision of a forest meal was broadened positively. As the evening grew darker, the fire kept them warm.
Good thing you had a fire,
a familiar voice echoed from the sky. All three of them looked up immediately. Ira and Zenith glided down close to the camp. The beats from their wings to slow their descent made the fire flicker and spike up. Ira touched down carefully, but Zenith maneuvered a bit further away and stumbled onto the floor.
Ira and Zenith, glad to see you two. Did you find the relics? And where are Valentina and Hazard?
Lachlan flooded them with questions.
Whoa, calm down,
Ira said, panting slightly from their flight down.
Valentina and Hazard are still on the mountain. We, hit a bit of a snag,
Zenith supplied as they sat down by the fire.
A snag? What's wrong? Can we help?
He asked, his question still unrelenting.
That's exactly what we came here for. They need you up there, Lachlan.
Ira pointed at him.
We found a tribe,
Zenith said, looking over at the mirror. What? Really? Tell me all about them, please. She answered quicker than she expected.
They're still there. They aren't a water tribe like yours. They are a forest tribe. They are trees.
Zenith kept looking towards the mountain. They would have to move back up there quickly. As they spoke, Lachlan was silent for the first time. He was already packing his things to get ready to go up the mountain.
I'm not sure if this is super scary or super cool. Why do you need Lachlan there? Ira will explain everything, but we really need to get going,
Zenith said, looking up to the mountain.
I'll explain it to Lachlan on the way there. He's a much better fighter than I. What you'll fight up there is no joke. Ira has all the Valentina has all the notes on it.
I have it all packed,
Lachlan said stoically. He slung his bag around his shoulder.
Also, I want you to hold on to my ring. I'm going to want that back, so I'll be sure to come collect it after the fight.
He took off the small silver band from his finger and dropped it into Idas's hand.
Come back safe. I want to fit this ring to all 10 fingers, you hear me?
She gave him a weak smirk, worry in her eyes.
Let's hop to it then,
Lachlan said, nodding his head towards the mountain. He and Zenith disappeared into the dark woods, but as they almost left from view, a small light bobbed into existence above Lachlan's hand. The three ladies were left by the fire. Ira started telling the other ladies what happened on the mountainside, and what was to come. Zenith led Lachlan up the mountain, still mulling over what had happened to them before. Her mind was so preoccupied that she didn't notice he had asked her several questions.
Zenith? Zenith!
Lachlan shouted, getting her out of her trance.
Ask where the others are now. Can you give me some direction?
I'm sorry, they're up that way.
She motioned up the hill. She had still been leading them the correct way, the path lit by Lachlan's orb of light.
There are so many things happening, and now that I had some time, my head is trying to get up.
Catch up.
I'm sure there's more to come. You talked about another Nymphin tribe?
Yes, we found the forest tribe that lives up there. They even admitted to knowing where Caropus is.
Wonderful. I reckon I'm going up here for a retrieval mission?
He asked, steadily moving through the dark forest. Zenith hesitated.
In a way,
she muttered, unsure how to continue. Lachlan offered her some silence to sort out her mind. After she climbed up on one of the rocky ledges, she turned, waited for him to clamber up behind her, and spoke.
We saw Rohan up on the mountain. He didn't see us. We found the tribe a few hours later, and when they gave us their condition for getting Caropus, we knew we would need some help up there. They want us to get rid of the dragon.
To take down a dragon is no mere feat. They state no other way.
We're gonna need to devise a plan. When we're all together, we have to discuss a strategy on getting Rohan where he's most vulnerable.
Technically, they only stated to get rid of him, so maybe relocating him would be enough.
They both thought on the situation while the climb continued. The mountainside shimmered gold and silver in the light of the glowing orb Lachlan had created. The long shadows of the duo cast eerie monsters onto the rugged surface. They walked for a couple of hours, making their way as fast as possible, with no breaks and a steady pace. Thankfully, they had both. It was just a few hours before dawn would approach that they saw the little fire Hazard had been allowed to make.
Hey, you two. Have you been planning and preparing already?
We know the objective is to remove the dragon. We also know that there are 2 henchmen we talked about. So what we thought was Zenith and I take on one of the henchmen, Hazard takes the other, and you, Lachlan, you go for the dragon.
He would have to take on Rohan alone?
Zenith asked, a little shocked. She could still feel where the dragon spikes had penetrated her wing. After we take down the henchman, we can help him, of course.
Yeah, no. Lachlan is strong, but taking on a dragon on his own is still a no-go. I think we hit him where it hurts most.
The underbelly?
The face. The face is always the nasty place to get hit.
His son?
Zenith asked softly, unsure if she'd even agreed with her own line of thinking.
Yes, Zenith. We take his son hostage and ransom Rohan into leaving this mountain.
Done. That's it for today.
Oh, that's it.
Let's see if the gang becomes dragon slayers. No. Did they know a bard? I mean, Lachlan is frog.
Lachlan is a bard. He has a flute and everything.
Yes. That's why they went to go get Lachlan. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Donate us, please. This is the end of today's chapters.
Yep. That's it for today.
Yeah. At least you know what's happening.
Hopefully the bard is not horny. No, hopefully not. I mean, it is still Lachlan, so
who knows?
Sag, always.
I mean, he hasn't really stated any preference. At all.
No.
None of them have. Not really. I think that's good, though.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't have to go in that direction. That wasn't the point. So we don't have to know that.
No, that's true. Like, none of the story is based around that yet. Or at all.
Or at all.
Yeah. I like that she said always. I'm guessing that's for Vixie. Hopefully the bard is not horny. Always.
Could be.
Yes, it was. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. Nice.
Otherwise, I would have lost the things that I said or he said. And I was like, I don't know what that was about. Sure.
About already knowing what was that it was going to be the end here, or already was knowing what's coming up, or always.
True. She does.
Yep.
I even noticed this morning when she caught up onto the 1 million that I sent her Tuesday.
Yes.
We've been trying to write the last bit of chapter 40.
It's certainly a struggle.
This one is a little bit of a thing. I did, in this one, I don't know if I can actually go back. I realized that this is actually one bit that we rewrote because we ended up...
Yes.
Like, neither of us knew what the other was trying to do.
Yeah.
In the bit that Lachlan and Zenith are going up the mountain. So the first thing we had was a really weird conversation where both of us were like, why are you answering this? And then trying to go with it, and it just didn't fit really well. And we ended up changing it to Lachlan giving her the space and time to think about what words she needed to use. And then actually explaining it, because otherwise it was just a really weird paragraph. Valentina would be anything so long as there's interest in bestiary stuff. Hazard would be anything. It's fire, yes.
Yes.
Elemental sprout, it's fine. So maybe the dragon, yes.
For both of them.
Yeah, that works.
Plot twist.
I mean, in that regard, and I don't think they're going to agree with us, especially not you. That would mean that Idas might be interested in Hazard with all his metal parts. And Zenith doesn't understand. She's like, she does not know what this means. It's fine. She's a little clueless. Not as bad as Macau was, but she's definitely a little clueless. They defeat the dragon by Hazard running off with him. We have to rewrite the story.
No, we don't have to rewrite. That's just the fan. Fucking fan plot. It's fine.
Yeah. It's good. Romance people. I mean, I think so far the only actual romance that we've written is Ayel and Amarilla. And Theoden and Macau was like only at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Well, and Zerfer, but that's not really fair because he didn't get what he wanted.
No.
That one was definitely more geared towards, oh, this could happen in a group like this.
Yes.
But it wasn't overpowering like a lot of romance books are, which I do really enjoy the way we wrote it.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it doesn't have to be there.
No, definitely not. Especially not in a book like this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this is very based on this is the hardship they're going through and they need to fix their mistake.
Yeah.
Technically. That's the whole point of this one. The other one was like, oh, there's someone following us. Why is this happening? And just trying to deal with that as they go.
It's a very different style.
Yeah.
Like, there's way less of an objective in Halo than there is in Relic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Agreed.
Yeah, it has to be done well, of course. Yeah, I think it's good. I think our writing is it's good.
I agree. Otherwise, I wouldn't put it online. That would probably be one of the hardest things to write about love and relationship stuff in life. For you or for anyone? No, yeah, for you. Okay. I was gonna say, I can imagine that for certain friends, there are a few friends that I know that would have issues writing things that are more both romantic and like I read books like that one. This series is basically a fairy smut series. I don't care, I like it. But also I can imagine that if you don't like or know anything about sex, that you wouldn't be able to write that. You might enjoy reading it because, you know, it's still a thing and there's still a story behind it.
Absolutely.
But I can imagine it being a lot harder to write because if you don't feel those things or don't see it the same way, then it's really difficult to put it down to words. It's also not something I would write. I don't think I don't mind reading it. I read that one for the story because the first book doesn't actually have any of it, so I didn't know, and then I was invested. I wanted to read the rest of it, but it is technically smut, so it's the thing. To me, the story is way more important than any of that. But I can also imagine that there's people that start reading that for the story and then realize like, oh, that's not really what I signed up for, and just stop reading.
I would.
You would read it or would stop reading?
I would start it and then realize I'm like, this is not my thing, and then stop reading it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I would not finish that if I started at all.
That's fair. Well, now you know. Don't start that one.
Yeah, I don't have to. Yes, okay.
Yeah,
no, I got it.
So, I don't even have to see that is like the covers. Like, aside from the fact that I know that they're right there.
I mean, it's your house. You put them there.
Like, I don't actually have to know the covers to know that they're there. It would just be friendship plus and wouldn't be coherent if sex or actual romance would be involved. I don't mind either way. It's just a reason for me to start it, but also not stop it. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's the same ish for me. Like I wouldn't start reading it just because it's that, but if it's there, then it's fine.
I don't really feel comfortable reading it.
That's fair.
So I tend to avoid it, but it's fine.
But you don't read a lot.
I don't read.
Very. I mean,
I don't know how to read.
You listen to books.
I listen to books, yes.
So I can imagine that, especially listening to them, I can imagine that would feel really weird.
It's a little weird. It's doable. I've had some parts, but it's like such little parts.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, this is fine. This I can just skip.
A lot of the books where I don't want it in there, so if I'm just reading it and I know what kind of book it is, then I prefer it to be like a movie where you know that it's going to happen, but they don't explain that it's happening. Just like it fades out. We do this and it fades out. I prefer that in most books, but again, I don't personally really mind if it's smut. So if it ends up being that and I don't know beforehand, then that's fine too. And there are certain times where you just want to, and then that's also fine, but not everyone wants that. So that's also fine.
A big part in writing is knowing what goes on.
Yeah.
How does this work? How does this function? And putting that into words. If you don't know how that works, you're more than likely not able to write it properly. And that goes for anything. That could be for romance stuff, for sexual stuff, for even writing a different gender.
Yeah.
That's entirely, like, if you don't understand it, you're better off not trying.
True.
Because you can only, like...
There are TikToks on TikTok. Shocking. I know.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't put them on any other
That sentence went really weird. It's fine. There are TikToks that are actually people that write books, and the joke is like where demons will be looking at, or FBI will be looking at your search history and be like, what type of person were you? Are you going to hell? Are you going to prison? It's like, oh no, this is a writer.
Yeah.
I really like those. It's true though. I have researched things. I've researched how wounds work. Just to know, like, if my characters get wounded, how to deal with that. Aside from the fact that we are writing fantasy, you can make it like go faster, which is nice. But yeah, for like some other books, I've also researched how a broken bone works, because my character wasn't magic and she would have to wait for 6 weeks.
Yep.
And I think it might be a bit different because you might know how it works and have seen a lot about it, but not want it for yourself. That's fair. It's about the knowing what you write about.
Yep.
I think it's always hard to write because other people's versions of things are still different.
Yep.
So even if I know full well how to take care of an animal. If I write down a certain way of taking care of that animal,
I wouldn't understand it.
But you wouldn't understand it. But other people that did my same schooling or that have had that pet for their entire life would do it differently, and then you would still get into the same type of issue where they are like, yeah, but that's not how that works. Whereas I know that for me, that is how it works. Like I've also worked in this for so long and stuff. And for some people it might be impossible to write, and for some it might be easy because they can imagine it really well even if they don't want or experience it, which would be one of my things. I can envision things really well. The only issue is the one that you actually mentioned, is writing a guy. I have yet to do that, and I will. But I can envision it really well, so I think I'll be fine, and I will help someone that has experience.
I am me.
You are male.
As far as I remember, yes.
That's actually a fair statement.
But yeah, like different gender stuff, but even like non-binary genders.
Yes.
It's really hard, honestly, to put yourself into something you have never felt.
Yeah.
And research can only go so far.
True.
There's still the feeling, like if you get if you have outside help of someone who is non-binary, who portrays themselves a certain way that you aren't.
Yeah.
Like, for me, writing a female character is not as difficult as writing a non-binary. If I don't know how it works, I'll just either ask you or ask Apple. Yeah. I'm fine. But I don't know any non-binary people that can help me out in writing them.
True.
That's then research can only get you so far, because there's always the part of feeling, and everybody feels differently.
Yes, but I will say that it's easier to write it in the way we do, where it's a third person, so the outside looking on top of a situation, than to write
first person
out of the first person and having a non-binary person out. Like if I write a story in the I am version, first person, yes, but I wanted to make sure that they also understand. Then I would prefer to write a female, because I know my own feelings and my own thoughts and the way I think.
What happens in your head.
Yeah.
Where that is very important for a first person viewpoint, is what happens inside.
And in the way we write in third person, it's definitely a lot easier to look upon someone and just act like they're normal. Because they are.
Yes.
They are a person. And the only thing we see is the outward signs of what they say or do. So it makes it a lot easier to just have them be a person. They don't have a gender.
We have some moments of thought.
Yeah, but not usually.
But it's not like an internal view. It's more of a thought.
Yeah.
Like this is something they think instead of say, even though it could have been said.
Yes.
And it's a different point of view from the very much like inside how feelings work.
It's more of a thinking / saying things and opinions.
Yes.
Not so much feelings.
Yes.
Whereas anyone can have the same opinion, but not everyone will have the same feelings. I think that makes sense.
Yes, I do agree, Apple.
Which is what I meant with you don't make it. You just make them a person. They are a person, and if anyone around them asks, "What are you?" or "What is your pronouns?" then they can just say they and them.
Yes.
Yeah.
A big thing is like, if you don't understand the struggles, don't try to write it.
Yeah. But in this case, like, just have them be the thing they are, and that's generally fine. And still have a main character that's binary. It doesn't have to be about the gender. Some people generally don't think or act differently because of their gender. True.
Yep.
Although it's also difficult to pinpoint, because I can imagine that aside from people thinking differently, like I do notice differences between Seven and Holy, and me and Apple.
Mm-hmm.
But I also notice similarities between me and Holy and Seven and Apple.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean anything. Like, there are so many different ways of people thinking that they're never going to line up with anyone because they're yours. Yeah. It is. I can imagine it's hard describing a feeling of not feeling your gender.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think any non-binary person that we would write just needs to be a person with their own thoughts and their own feelings.
It definitely needs to be someone else instead of our
characters. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
we can use them in our story, but we can't use them as mains because we will make a misstep, and that is the last thing we want to do.
Yeah.
If we want to represent them, we want to properly represent them, and I don't think we can properly represent them. At least not yet.
I was going to say, unless I have someone, I find someone that I can actually bounce ideas on.
Oh yes, but then it's not you representing them. Then it's them explaining how to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we can yet. We are trying though. Always trying.
Absolutely. We need to do good research and maybe have some sensitivity. Yeah.
Yep.
It'll work out.
And the feeling of not feeling is, I like that you put that in square brackets of your gender because that was the topic, but it also goes for being aro or ace or anything else. If you don't have the feeling for something, it's really hard to explain a feeling of not feeling that thing.
Yeah.
The absence. And that is, I think that is the issue with me.
That's
in writing. It's like I try to explain what I feel, but I don't understand how to not feel.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how it works to not feel a thing because it's so normal to me, and the not feeling is something very normal to someone else.
Yeah. And it's the same with. There's certain people that don't see images in their head, which I do.
Yep.
Don't think the way I do, / that means they don't hear their own voice back in their head. And to me, that's strange. I can imagine it, but not really, because how do you think without that voice? But I can also imagine that for them it's just different. That's, like, I can't imagine. Not really.
It's difficult.
Not accurate.
Because it's very different from what you know.
I'm very, very visual and audio based in my head. So whenever I read a book, any book, I see it. I like a movie. The entire thing. If it's written nicely, the entire thing is a movie in my head. And if it's extremely good, like exquisitely written, there's also a chance that I don't see the letters anymore and I feel like I'm there. Like, I will not feel like I'm sitting on my bed reading. I will feel like I am literally there. That is how imaginative my brain is. Which is why I really like descriptive writing with details. Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I
but
do too.
For her, it's like she needs a clear picture.
Yeah.
Just to make sense of things. Which is why she likes descriptive, so she has more detail and basically more
written out for her.
You could compare this to having like a better picture quality. If you have higher picture quality, you can see more things. Otherwise, things get blurred.
Well, that's the difference for me between seeing it as normal or being there. So for me, that's just a step higher up, I guess.
Yeah, but she doesn't see it until it's clear.
Mm-hmm. I got it. Equating it to my own experience.
That's why I'm explaining that too. So yeah, it's I have the same visuals. I can pretty easily picture things in my mind. And it's difficult to realize how some others can't. Like, oh, just think of this and just see it in your mind's eye, and you're like, but I can't do that.
Oh, that's
right?
actually how.
What do you mean you can't do that? Right? It's so normal. No, it's not. It is not normal. You think it is normal.
Well, it's both normal and not normal. For them, it's not. For you, it is.
It is not something that everyone can.
No.
So it's not the norm.
Is that what the norm would be?
I don't know. It's not the norm.
Because it's normal for the other half.
Both sides are normal, so I guess normal is the wrong word. But
no, I get you though. I get you. It's difficult to say it because normal is such an annoying word. But what to us is normal is different for someone else, but that doesn't mean that's not normal. It's just normal to them.
It was a fun video a long time ago from Vsauce, which explained like your red may be entirely different from my red.
Yeah.
If you see red, I might see green and call it red.
Yeah. Which is also why I don't understand how colorblindness is a thing. Well, I do understand how it works in your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you know?
Yeah, how do you know that you have it?
Unless it's like fully dark. Like fully
Well, that's why there's tests.
Yeah.
There's like those little tests to like those circles of dots.
Yeah.
With a number in them. It's like if you see the difference between these colors, like
orange and green and stuff.
No visual impairity can see these colors differently. And then if you have a color blindness, you would not be able to see those differences. And it's more of the differences between the colors than seeing actual colors.
Yeah.
Because if you're monochromatic, you just don't see color. But you could still call it like, oh, that shade of gray should be red, and that shade of gray should be blue. I have never heard of someone who is actually monochromatic. But I mean, it's possible, I guess.
Well, I know someone that is legally blind that only sees shadow and thus no colors whatsoever. And the colors were the first thing to go for her.
Yeah.
But they have very progressive disease that sucks.
Mm.
I was trying to read what it says.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt I was asexual for a good while, so it's just weird to see Lua and you like that cute or sexy. It's just, oh, that's a cool pose. Seeing it, but you're simply not like, I want that to be me. Please, you simply don't feel the feeling you're supposed to. It's weird. I can imagine.
Yeah.
And now I also understand that one. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's one of the reasons why I do want to include things like non-binary, because everyone should have a chance to be represented.
Yes.
Also, everyone's feeling is different. Whereas person A with that is non-binary and person B that is non-binary will still experience everything differently. Because the one may be colorblind and the other may not be able to see visuals, but the other might. Like, they are still people.
Yep, everybody's different.
And I do love this. Actually, this is one of the reasons why I really fell in love with the character Ayal. Aside from it, Apple being the person that made the character, like, I really like the way we wrote it. And since Amarillo was very much me, it felt really natural to have them be like, we really enjoy being together. And it never became a big thing, but they definitely ended up together, and that was clear in the story. Aside from the fact that they maybe shared 2 kisses the entire book.
It definitely didn't have to be bigger.
No, it was perfect the way it was. I'm very happy with the way it was.
Yep.
But I didn't add it to have a gay couple. I added it because I liked those characters together.
It just fit well.
And I think that is how a story should go. I don't think you should add characters just because they're supposed to be a certain way.
You hear sometimes that this character is a love interest. And if that's their entire character, that's a shit character.
Yeah.
Because it was created as a love interest. Well, that's sucks.
Unless it's specific for that book, because then you go into it knowing. But if you find out in a book that that's a thing, then it's annoying.
Well, yeah, then it's a shit character.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't have character. Because there's no person on this planet who is just out there to be interesting to be with. There are multiple facets. There are moments where they absolutely suck. There are moments where they have their own opinion about things. They aren't just a love interest.
Yes.
And if a character is just written as a love interest and then vanishes, that's shit.
That's true.
Have a little bit of depth, is what I'm trying to say.
Layers.
Layers.
They need to be onions.
Like ogres. Ogres have layers.
But yeah, we have never added a type of character
Just because.
No. Spoilers.
Ah.
My brain is doing the thing where I want to say something and then realize, nope, we don't know that yet.
Yep. You know what you then do?
That's what I did.
Yeah.
And then you asked what was wrong and I needed to explain. I managed to keep my mouth shut. But yeah, that was it for today.
Yes. I hope you guys have fun.
Thanks, Apple. She's been on the receiving end of way too many spoilers so far.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if I have anyone to rate today. Can I just...
No, of course not.
Of course not.
That would be way too useful.
Just click one more and then it's gone. No one. Okay, cool. No raids.
All right.
Thank you for being here.
Everybody's dead. No one is live.
There's a difference between live and alive.
Oh. That's where it went wrong.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I had a blast.
Yes, same. It was great.
And I'll see you in about 3 weeks.
Yush.
Bye.
Bye-bye.